The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper and finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee. Ladies and gentlemen, the Church of Lazlo has begun.
Yo!
Yo!
How are you, my friend?
Man, I've never been better. How about yourself?
Well, I'm all right.
What? What?
Fine.
Did I miss something?
No. Well, yeah, you did. I think you were at Worlds of Fun.
Oh, that whole thing?
Yeah.
That whole game thing?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I thought you were a Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
You know, now you can 100% be a Chiefs fan again.
I mean, I do like the Chiefs. Of course, I live here.
It's a good game, right?
Yeah, it's a good game.
My family was very upset with me. They said, be here in the moment. Oh, what is that? Where's that coming from?
Oh, man.
What?
I don't think you're allowed to...
This guy.
What?
Is that coming from... Oh, I hear it. I can't control it, though. I don't know where it's coming from. I can't hear anything. Where's that coming from?
These guys.
Sorry. Anyway, you were saying?
Nothing.
Oh, no, I was saying my family was very upset with me. I watched that entire game on my phone while waiting in lines for rides at Worlds of Fun. And my brother said, I've taped the game. I don't want to know anything about it until we get home. So not a word from you, no nothing. So I'm doing this, and he's like, stop it, just stop it. When it was over, I was finally able to enjoy the rest of my afternoon.
Well, good. I'm glad you got to enjoy your afternoon.
Hey, man, come on. That was a good game. The Lions are good, right?
They are good.
They're good now. They
really
proved it. They had their doubters. They're good, right?
I mean, you guys technically won, so congratulations.
We did win.
You technically won.
We won.
What was the technicality?
Well, I mean, it was a catch in the end zone, and that whole, 99-yard return thing where people are just walking on the field. Mm-hmm. People dancing, cheerleaders on the field.
Hey, they were told to let us.
I know, hey,
the guys
whatever.
play.
Hey, like I said, technically you guys won.
We did win. You're right.
Yeah, technically. You won.
I mean, we won.
Yeah, technically it was a good win for you guys.
And you're no longer technically undefeated.
No, that's true. You guys technically are. It was a good technical win. Technically, you guys played great. It's good.
Just looking again at the definition of technically, with reference to the technique displayed. Example, a technically brilliant boxing contest. So, yeah, Chiefs are technically undefeated.
Yeah, technically you're undefeated.
We are, yeah.
With reference to technique displayed. And that technique would be getting W's.
Technically it would be that I think the refs were.
Yeah, that old ref situation. They've gotten the Chiefs a few times, too, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Not anymore. You guys are basically the Patriots of the NFL. Roughing the passer. You can't hit Mahomes anymore. He's the pretty boy MVP. You can't lay a hand on him. Hell, at some points during the game, he turns around, looks at the ref, and says, hey, are you guys going to call? Oh, no, you're not going to call anything? Well, then let me go ahead and continue on with this play.
He was just checking.
Yeah, he was just checking because he absolutely knew what happened.
Okay.
You know what? Technically, you guys won. Congratulations.
Come on. You're supposed to start the show with something, right?
Oh, yeah. Colin Dean's my daddy. I have to say that for like a week, for Christ's sakes. Jesus.
Oh, Colin's a great guy.
So, what were you doing? Were you watching it by yourself, sitting there stressed out?
Well, I watched like the first half at home, and then Chacho had a baseball game, so I watched it on my phone at his baseball game.
Technology is a wonderful thing and a terrible thing at the same time because...
Well, yeah, it is a wonderful thing if they use replay correctly, but you know what? They don't.
Okay.
But I do feel a little guilty that I watched an entire football game on my phone while spending time with my family. We do this once a year, and I tried to be present during commercial breaks and stuff. What I did was I would take my phone, put it in my fanny pack, and I would leave it running. I didn't lock the phone or anything.
Sure.
That way I wouldn't wait for it to buffer again and load back up. Sure, I just left it on. So occasionally my brother would hear is the game still playing in your pocket? I'm like, shh. sorry, and I would turn it down. But I had to know, because the problem was, if they won or lost, either way, I was going to hear, right? Someone was going to be like, God, the Chiefs lost.
Yeah, Worlds of Fun.
And then you got to go home and watch that on your DVR, knowing the outcome. And I just thought it would be nicer to go home and watch it on the DVR, knowing the outcome is that they technically won.
Right.
Yeah. So I went home and watched it. Which also upset my girlfriend, because she was like, you watched the whole game on your phone. I said, yeah, but it's like sunny out, and it's hard to hear some of it, and...
I get it.
I was surprised that you were at Worlds of Fun.
It's a good time to go, because everybody's watching the game, so there's no lines.
There's no men there.
There were some men there. Some men there being good fathers, taking their kids places, like my brother. Being good dads. This is a company thing for a couple big local companies. Yesterday was their day.
Interesting.
Anyway, it was a good time. Oh, I have to find something for you here, because I just got this. I mean, guys, this is hot off the press.
What's that?
Hot off the press. Oh, first we should announce what this week's trip.
Oh yeah, do we have the promo? Is it done?
Yeah, but we just tell people, right?
Okay, that's fine.
It's White Reaper in Austin.
White Reaper in Austin.
So hopefully you know how this works by now. Every day, Monday through Thursday, you listen in the 2 p.m. hour. When you hear the sounder, you text 2 p.m., the number 2, and then p.m., all one word, to 96500. That gets you registered. That's it. And then on Friday, Lazlo will call out the last 4 digits of a registered phone number. And if that sounds like your number, you call back within 9 minutes and 65 seconds, and that's it.
Easy.
Okay. So, I just got this sent to me, and I guess it's true. It's from like a local NBC affiliate somewhere. But do you remember last week during headlines, last Friday, we talked about, actually my brother just sent me this, we talked about the girl who was bullied at school and her dreadlocks were cut off. Do you remember this?
Where were administrators? Where were anybody to protect her from this heinous crime?
Amari is a 6th grader at the private Emmanuel Christian School in Springfield, Virginia, the place where Second Lady Karen Pence teaches. Amari tells WUSA 9 she's been bullied for weeks.
Sometimes I think that I don't deserve to be there at a Christian school and everything, and that I'm ugly.
Okay, so you guys remember that story. Well, this just got sent to me. It says a 12-year-old girl who accused, this is according to NBCWashington.com, a 12-year-old girl who accused 3 6th grade boys of pinning her down and cutting her dreadlocks has admitted to school officials she was not attacked and cut her own hair.
Christ.
Her family's attorney and the school said. The 6th grade girl had said white classmates ambushed her on the playground last week and used scissors to cut off some of her dreadlocks while telling her that she was ugly and nappy. She and her family met with school officials Monday morning to apologize. The girl maintains that she has been the victim of bullying. According to her family's attorney, the family is seeking counseling for the girl. They say, to those young boys and their parents, we sincerely apologize for the pain and anxiety these allegations have caused. To the administrators and families of the school, we are sorry for the damage this incident has done to trust within the school family and the undue scorn it has brought to the school.
It's Juicy Smollett.
I know, that's exactly what I thought. And I thought people would learn from that.
That would learn to think they figured they'd give it a try.
Right, I thought.
A lot of people are walking in Juicy's footsteps.
Maybe she didn't know about it.
There was one more, too, one of those hate hoaxes, right? What was the other one?
Well, that was the girls who said that the kid assaulted them and he was let out in handcuffs, and they later said that he didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. There was something else.
Something recent?
Yeah, I think it was after Juicy, but there was something. Stop doing that.
Well, and what sucks is I still tend to believe her that she was bullied at school.
Yeah.
So then I imagine, for a 6th grader, I can totally imagine a scenario where she cut her hair to try and get attention, like, hey, they're really bullying me, do something about it, and she doesn't know what else to do. You're telling your parents, hey, these kids are bullying me. They tell the school's like, oh.
That's a pretty elaborate scheme for a 6th grader.
Yeah. Now you're in trouble.
I mean, it is pretty. I have a 6th grader, and I could see it's a pretty elaborate scheme. It would be hard for me to believe that he would come home having that all planned out and shave his head by himself. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
It feels like there's somebody else involved in this. Is the mom involved? I'm not saying she is. I'm not saying she isn't. I'm just saying, as a parent of a 6th grader, I don't know. He's a very smart sixth grader. I don't know that he has formulated the ability to be that devious yet. His lying and deviousness are pretty bush league at this point. You know what I mean? Like, you can look at him and be like, okay, that never happened.
I want to know why she admitted to it. So does it get national press, and then the boys at school are like, whoa, we didn't cut your hair, what are you talking about? And she starts seeing them getting in trouble, and she feels guilty, like what happened with me and my brother.
Does she just know that it's coming?
Or does she know there's too much pressure now, there's too much attention? Right. My parents got a lawyer.
Do the kids' parents say this never happened? My boys say it never happened, so the principal calls her back in and says, okay, tell me your story again. Where did this happen? When did this happen? Because everybody believes her at this point, and then she's like, oh my God, and then... there's a slip up in the story.
I could see the family getting a lawyer and this making national news and her going, oh, no. She's like, I never imagined that it would get this far. We have a lawyer. They're going to sue these kids. Oh, God. And that's when just laying there in bed at night. If she came up with the story on her own.
It does feel like to me like the Falcon kid, right? A little bit. Am I wrong about that?
Falcone. Is that who we're talking about?
You're
talking about Balloon Boy?
Yeah, Balloon Boy.
Oh, yeah. Falcone's the wiener guy.
Right, where they're like, just say this, and then the pressure kept getting more and more and more.
Yeah, God, I forgot all about the balloon guy.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
But didn't they start like a metal band? Remember that?
Yeah,
they started a metal band.
Yeah, the family, the dad and the kids.
Yeah.
That was the one where, if you don't remember, that dad was working on that big aluminum helium-filled air balloon or weather balloon thing in their backyard, and then he said that his son was attached to it and it flew off, and there were cameras following this balloon. Like, we don't know if the boy is inside the balloon, if he already fell. Balloon. Yeah. Man, when was that? Like 2000?
It was a while ago, but it just felt like the whole thing felt I don't know. I'm not saying her parents are guilty. I'm not saying maybe the boys threatened her again to recant her story, but none of this is, it's just not working for me.
Yeah.
It's like when Juicy first came out, and we were like,
and we
I don't want to be the guy that says this doesn't make a lot of sense, because, boy, that puts you in a bad position, but none of this doesn't make sense.
That story, though, made... I had so many questions from the beginning, because the day that we read that story, the first day, we were all looking at each other like...
I remember me and you
how did you and I kept going, how did they know that he was gay?
Right.
And then it was like, well, because he's an actor, like, they watch Empire?
Right.
What else is this guy on? Like, am I out of it? And then, why are there guys in MAGA hats in downtown Detroit?
Because the stories made it seem like, well, everyone knows Juicy Smollett from Empire. And it's like,
I was like, I don't know him. Should I know him?
That guy
right.
Is?
Yeah, that was a weird story. Whereas this one, I could see a kid, and I'm not saying that someone else wasn't involved, but we won't hear more, but I could see a kid.
And by the way, the worst thing that happened to him is that Dave Chappelle talked about it and changed his name forever. I can't even really remember his real name.
Yeah. Jussie Smollett.
Yeah, he's just Juicy Smollett.
Juicy Smollett. French actor.
He just changed it.
He really did.
I mean,
he changed it
for the rest of his life. If you have not seen the new Chappelle special, that's where that's from.
What a legend.
Yeah, what does that guy do now? I mean,
Juicy?
Yeah, what's Juicy gonna do with his life? How do you pick up the pieces after that? You're done acting, right?
Yeah.
But then what do you? Even if you try and go,
and
get
even
a job
if you thought
anywhere,
you could go get a job, I mean, I know Chappelle is completely against cancel culture, but he canceled Juicy. He canceled him.
Yeah.
Because if Juicy shows up to read for a part, he's going to be like, hi, and they're like, Juicy Smollett.
Juicy Smollett.
I don't know. He's going to have to hope that like Judd Apatow or somebody finds a spot for him, or a Quentin Tarantino, right?
Do you think
somebody who's like, you know what? Let's build this character back up and make him awesome.
Yeah, it's weird because like people are canceled, and we think of canceled a lot for like the Me Too movement.
Sure.
Like Louis C.K. or Weinstein, they're canceled. This is a different reason. Arguably worse, arguably better, whatever it is, it's a different reason. So
I don't think there's any reason. I think people would give him a job.
Is there a time
I just think it's the fact that he's Juicy Smollett now. I don't think anybody. I think it's Chappelle didn't do it on purpose. I just think he's become a caricature and a kind of a joke, the butt of a joke now.
Yeah. And was he big enough in the first place? It's not like Louis C.K. trying to stage a comeback or someone that was big.
Right,
you know.
right.
This was a guy that none of us had heard of until that day.
No.
Most Americans, let's be honest, hadn't heard of.
Yeah.
Even if they watched the show, they probably didn't know his name.
One of the theories is that this was to, like, you know, advance his
Advance
career.
his career.
Sure.
And he sent the letter, and that didn't work. And
When Chappelle took that joke to the level that he did when he said that they found out that it was Nigerians, and they're like, this is MAGA country. So funny. Oh, man. And I don't know if you've been following this, and we are going to talk about it in headlines. And I'm going to try not to get excited about stories and headlines like I did last week, because I got so excited about that dwarf who was adopted as a 10-year-old.
Sure.
And then you guys weren't all that interested in the dwarf story, although I got a lot of messages about a lot of updates.
Yeah,
I didn't
people
update
love
you
it.
guys. But I feel like there is a story today that is worth just being all of headlines. It's not, but it involves cancel culture. And it's so amazing. And part of me hopes that you haven't read it yet, haven't heard about it. It's just amazing. And it involves cancel culture. So I'm excited to talk about that. But we'll do headlines a little after 3, right?
Yes.
And then I know Carl's giving away tickets all week for, what's he doing? Brew at the Zoo? And,
Yes.
so I should know what the other thing is. It's 2 things. I'll look and I'll find out. I'll talk to him. And then your chance to get qualified for the trip for 2 at 2 is coming up here in just a couple of moments, which this week is your chance to see
White Reaper in Austin.
In Austin. And then we'll do headlines. Sound good?
Yeah, man, whatever you
I
want
like
to
that
do.
shirt, by the way. New shirt.
Yeah, I like
New fall
yours.
wardrobe.
Yours, too.
I got a Charlie Hustle Worlds of Fun shirt. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I think during the Chiefs game, you went to Worlds of Fun. That's what I think.
Yeah. It was a pre-planned, family scheduled day for a company thing.
Not cool, bro.
It was a company thing. That's the day
What
that
company?
the company that my brother works for. It was his company
Oh, do you
day
work
at Worlds
there?
of Fun. He gets to bring family with him.
Yeah.
And he
Do
asked
they
me
not
to
know
come with
that
him.
The Chiefs,
Chiefs are playing? They don't know the Chiefs playing Sunday?
Maybe they get a deal. I don't know. It seems
You
like
couldn't
they
meet up with them later?
Seems like they treat him pretty well. So, you know. And originally the weather reported said that the only time there would be a break in the rain was between like noon and 3. So we're like, well, we had to get there early.
Nah,
Sure.
Not cool, bro.
But I watched it.
Sure. Oh, sure you did.
I watched it twice.
Mm-hmm. Sure you did.
It was so nice. I watched it
We were
twice.
texting, me, you,
I was on a
and
delay.
Nick.
I was on a delay.
And you were like, guys, please, I'm going to have to block everyone. I can't watch it. I'm at Worlds of Fun.
Yeah.
And then
I couldn't help it, so I turned on the game.
and then
Drove my
you
brother
were
crazy.
taking pictures at Worlds of Fun on the Viking Voyager.
Yeah.
By the way, that is a great ride. You're right.
Yeah, and I watched the game the entire time I was in line for that, too. But I was delayed. So I did
I don't
text
think you've
Nick.
ever
I
watched
did
a full
text
football
Nick and
game.
Lazlo at one point and said, like, God, this is killing me. And Lazlo's like, killing you? And then 2 seconds later, I see what he's talking about. I was like, no! And again, my brother's like, turn the game off. And Nick was like, he's on a delay. He's on a delay. So I waited until it was over, and I just said, all caught up now, smiley face.
Yeah.
You know, just a little fun with the boys. A little fun. And hey, you're a Chiefs fan, and I said that in the text thread too.
You are a Chiefs
Lazlo
fan.
is technically a Chiefs fan, so technically his team is undefeated still.
Right.
So, and I know you're a Chiefs fan. I've seen you get worked up over the Chiefs for years.
Shut up, you smug prick.
All right.
This is the Church of Lazlo on 95 The Buzz.
Flashing with paparazzi involved in an incident.
These infected monkeys. This is Headlines on the Church of Lazlo.
Yo,
Yo.
hit me with that news and information, Sugar Wiener.
Well, how do you feel about impeachment inquiry? Like, how many days should we talk about impeachment inquiry until we just decide to wait until they make a decision about whether or not they're going to vote?
I don't know, but I just got an update. It says House Democrats subpoenaed Rudy Giuliani,
So they
President Donald Trump's personal lawyer.
want Rudy bad. And
Looks like they just subpoenaed him.
he is not a government official.
Right.
He's a private citizen. He's Trump's personal attorney. So they make it sound like he doesn't have any type of federal protection or anything. He certainly doesn't have access to some of the things that they think that he's been given access to. But they want him to testify because did you see that quote? I don't remember if it was Pelosi or who said, they're like, he doesn't know what not to say.
No, that's true, yes.
You get him, I mean, if you've seen him on TV.
How does he not?
I don't know. And how does Trump has fired so many people, and you've heard these stories about Trump getting angry in closed-door meetings saying, I can't believe this person said that. Get rid of him or whatever. How has he not had that reaction about Rudy yet?
I don't know.
Like a couple of weeks ago when they were talking about Ukraine, and he says, did they ever pressure? No. And then he's like, so you're saying that impression? Well, they did. But he's like, wait, you just said that they didn't. Like, just that there was a big enough headline that I would have thought Trump would be like, enough with this guy already. Trump must really like him. But I see him, and I think, is this guy that smart?
He doesn't seem that smart, but maybe, I mean, Trump hasn't gotten in trouble yet.
He doesn't
so maybe he's pretty
smart.
Good.
I don't know. But, so Trump, you know, he's obviously probably a little bit stressed out about everything that's going on. And when Trump gets upset, he likes to tweet things. And one of the things that he tweeted this weekend, that this is the big scandal of the day of the weekend, is, you know, he tweeted something about civil war. He was tweeting someone else this week. Was that guy a minister or something?
Yes.
But
tweet that quoted Pastor Robert Jeffress, implying removing him from office will cause a civil war. Kinzinger writing, I have never imagined such a quote to be repeated by a president. This is beyond repugnant.
Beyond repugnant. So it's a longtime evangelical pastor who warned of a civil war if Democrats seriously pursue removing him from office. And then that could actually be grounds for impeachment. I saw the tweet, and I thought this is so much less insane than so many other things that I've seen him tweet in the past. But Civil War.
Civil War's a pretty big one.
War. You can't. I know, but I'm at that point, right, where I'm like, oh, as a pastor, and he's saying, like, I expected him to say at some point, if you impeach me, people are going to start flipping cars over and stuff. Didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, clearly that's his plan. He first started with, if you impeach me, you're going to lose all Democratic states. Nobody's going to vote for you. So he started with that.
Yeah.
That was the fear.
Yeah.
He just keeps moving forward and forward.
So these guys in Ohio, they're in jail. And I guess this jail in Ohio is it's not a great jail. They have some serious criminals that they keep in this jail, but it's it's one of these temporary county jails or whatever where they wait for you, I guess, to get moved to the pen or whatever. So did you hear that these four guys had escaped from a county jail?
No.
They escaped from a county jail, and apparently they had made some sort of a weapon, and I don't know if it was a fake weapon or if they had fashioned an actual weapon out of stuff in the jail, but they were able to scare the guards and get out of there, and they were on the run, and then they had eventually caught 3 of them.
Our jail was outdated and insufficient to meet the needs and the numbers of the criminals and the types of criminals that we are currently housing.
Okay, so that's the sheriff talking about, how bad the jail is there. And as of this morning, they were saying that they had 3 of them, while the 4th one has just been caught. So the fourth prisoner who escaped the Ohio jail is now in custody. I guess all 4 of these guys had done some pretty serious stuff, and they made it sound like getting out of there was pretty easy. If I was in jail, I don't know what was making me... It's a stupid story, but I was trying to fashion a tool out of something at my house the other day.
Fashion a what?
A tool. I was using aluminum foil to try and make something that I needed. I was sitting there thinking about, man, I can see how...
Some sort of drug paraphernalia?
No, so my faucet was clogged in my sink, and I get hard water deposits that build up over time, so I lose water pressure. So I have to take apart my water faucets, and I have to break out all the sediment and chip it out of there and then put it back together so the water starts flowing again. It was happening in my bathroom, and there was this little tiny area that I needed to get to pop this thing out. And rather than just walk out to my car and get a set of screwdrivers where I have a little teeny tiny screwdriver, I'm sitting there with a piece of aluminum foil, rolling it in my hands, trying to make it sharp enough and pointy enough. And I imagined that I felt like someone who's sitting in jail trying to escape prison, right? And you got nothing but time if you're there.
Yeah,
these guys were just in jail. I would like to know more about this weapon that they used, because they were able to steal keys from one of the corrections officers and get in his vehicle to drive away. That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Like, if you come to me in jail, like if you and I go to jail at the same time, you're like, don't worry, Bam Bam, we're gonna break out of this place.
I'd be like, yeah, right.
I'd be like, yeah, right. I just can't imagine that we're gonna get out. I don't know if it's faith in my ability or just I don't have any hope that it seems impossible.
Right.
I know people do it, but it seems impossible. But maybe if you're at an old, outdated county jail and you feel like this shank is scary enough and sharp enough that maybe we can. I'm like, don't they have guns? But it worked, at least for a while. The 4 guys got away for a while, but they've all been caught. Bad news.
You never get away for a long time either.
No.
I mean, rarely.
Yep. It's,
days.
It's days. It's days at best that they're looking for you. And then
but every once in a while you get a story of a guy who got away. But that's it.
Yeah, maybe. And the people who are gone the longest, when they have these huge manhunts, well, like those kids in Canada. I mean, they were adults, I guess, but they even said, like, they're going to end up killing themselves because they know that we're looking for them, and they're not going to be. And they're looking out in, like, the open wilderness in uninhabited parts of Canada, and they're like, we'll find them. Yeah. We'll find them. Which at that point, also, I guess you would, because it's not like you can run into someone's house and hide.
No,
you're trying to live in the woods. So it may be a little bit harder for the both of us to get cigarette jeans for under $30 now. I don't know if you heard the news.
Forever 21 was once among America's fastest growing fast fashion retailers. It transformed its once penniless founders into billionaires, established itself as a powerhouse in the fast fashion world, and at its peak made $4.4 billion in revenue. But the once flush company is now preparing to file for bankruptcy.
Forever 21 filing for bankruptcy. And they say this is another victim of online retail. Brick and mortar stores have it harder and harder. It's tough to make money. And
what the hell's a cigarette gene?
I don't know. I think I heard it on American Dad. I think they offered to take Roger to Forever 21. He goes, yay, cigarette jeans.
I don't know what those are.
I imagine that meant that they were like straight leg. Did you look it up?
I'm looking at just a picture of jeans. I can't tell.
None of them say cigarette jeans?
I mean, I Googled cigarette jeans and then imaged it, but they just look like jeans to me. I'm not sure.
Aren't you a little bummed about brick and mortar places going out of business? I know we buy everything. You're not. It gave you an excuse to go out, walk on the plaza, walk around wherever, just to be outside, or go to the mall even in the wintertime. You get out of your house, you walk through the mall, you walk through Oak Park Mall, you go to the Microsoft store, go look at jeans at Dillard's or whatever. You don't do that?
No.
Well, you had to have done it at some point.
Yeah, but I don't.
But you don't miss it? All right, what about for your kids? Like, I know you don't watch Stranger Things, but watching the last season of Stranger Things, they built a big mall and the kids are all hanging out there. And I know I'm just getting older and sentimental, but I liked hanging out at the mall when I was a teenager. It was a place your parents could drop you off and basically said, you're not allowed to leave this mall. But, so you're not totally independent, but you have the freedom and independence to move around this mall.
Sure.
Right? That was a big deal, and it was a lot of fun. And you meet people from school there.
Sure.
You enjoyed that. So do you feel bad that your kids won't have that? Like,
I'm sure they'll have something else.
Yeah, we got to figure out what that something else is, because everything, not everything, but so much in this country, especially when you and I were growing up, was built around retail, right? Everything was something that's for sale. Here's a billboard for you to go to this place to buy something. And the fewer places there are to buy something, I guess you still got restaurants, right? People are still going to go out to eat, even though they are ordering a lot of food to their
Bars.
house. Yeah, but you're still going to go out to eat, still going to go out to drink. There's something to that. But as far as, I don't know what fills that void of going out, walking around and window shopping and grabbing a few things you weren't planning on buying or whatever, trying on clothes. And not that it's going to go away completely, but man, a lot of these places are going out of business.
But is that why Forever 21 really went out of business? Because of Amazon?
They blame online.
I know, but really, or is it because you had a zeitgeist brand and now, it's kind of over and people don't go there?
Yeah, could be. That place was really, really cheap. I think it was my ex or someone wouldn't shop there because they put was that the place where they put Christian slogans on the shopping bag? I think there was like Bible verses or something on the shopping bag, or maybe one Bible verse that they used over and over. Someone will text and know. But in that story, I think it was that story, one of the stories I was watching this morning, they were talking about how, it's this women's chain, and I was like, they had guy stuff there too. Because I went in there a few times with exes. Yeah, they had a men's section.
No, they didn't.
Oh, yeah, and this stuff was so cheap, Lazlo. So just
you bought something from Forever 21.
I definitely bought stuff from there before. It was so cheap. It was like $5 or $6. Yeah, they had a men's section, and everything there was super cheap.
And you bought it?
Yeah,
and wore it?
Yeah, I think like when we were living in Seattle, I think I bought a coat there and
man,
maybe a shirt you would never notice. It just looked like you obviously didn't know. You didn't say anything. It doesn't say like Forever 21 on it. But yeah, I don't know if they stopped selling men's stuff there, but they used to. The last time I was in there, it's probably been, 10 years or something. But they had a men's section, and it was really, really, really cheap. As I recall, it was really cheap, at least for the guys' stuff. I don't know if the girl stuff was as cheap too, but My point is, I don't.
My point is, you're a grown ass man going to Forever 21 and buying pants.
Well, I don't go there anymore. I mean, like I said, it's been over 10 years since I was in one.
You're still a grown ass man then.
Yeah. I was there with my girlfriend, and she's walking around. I'm like, oh, look at this. All this guy stuff is just always on clearance. You can buy a coat right here for $10. My point is that if they were that cheap, then I don't know that buying online is a whole lot cheaper. But it is more convenient. I get it. You get it sent straight to your house or whatever. But what are we going to do with all these big retail areas when everything's going out of business? You got
turn them into condos.
That's what they're doing, right? Turn it into condos.
I hope so.
Do you ever take? You get heartburn occasionally, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever?
I have medication for it.
Is it prescription medication or you buy stuff? Oh, you get prescription heartburn medication. I know, actually, you can still get this particular heartburn medication. I think they can write you a prescription for this. It used to be prescription when I was a kid, then it became over the counter. But you've heard of Zantac.
Sure.
I didn't realize this, but I guess Zantac sales had been halted in some other countries already. And now CVS in the United States has said, we're not going to sell it.
Popular heartburn drug Zantac will no longer be available at American retailer CVS over fears it could cause cancer.
What?
Yeah. So I had not heard about this at all. I didn't know that other countries have stopped selling it, like I said, and I can't even believe that I'm going to tell you this. This is so dumb. I did used to get heartburn. I took what's the Larry the Cable Guy stuff? Prilosec.
Okay.
But I read this thing one time that the active ingredient in Zantac, which I'd have to look up, because they even talked about how the company that makes the generic version was, I think they were the ones that stopped. Okay, so the drug I think is called, it's Ranitidine, ranitidine.
Okay.
Something like that. How would you pronounce that there? Ranitidine? Ranitidine. Anyway, someone had said that if you take that with kratom, that somehow
you've been taking that?
It helps the kratom to work. And my brother sent me a thing about it one time and said you got to make sure that you get this ranitidine or whatever. And
so you've been doing that with your kratom?
No, but I tried it. I haven't been doing it.
How many times?
I did try it. Oh, I used the whole box or whatever. I bought the box and tried it and didn't notice any real difference there. But and I look, the science wasn't proven, I don't think, or even necessarily sound. It was based off of a YouTube video where the guy only showed his hands and he was dumping kratom into orange juice. So, I took it with several grains of salt, but
several grains of ranitidine.
Yeah, and that. So I don't know if your prescription stuff, because I guess some prescription stuff, that's what they use. I don't know if that's what it's using, by the way, does it say anywhere what the cancer risk is? Like what type of cancer? Because I couldn't find. I even watched an entire YouTube video of this guy from a Christian hospital, a doctor, talking about Zantac and the risks of cancer and telling patients, like, I think you shouldn't use it, blah, blah, blah. We're now learning that there could be risk of cancer. But what kind of cancer? Just any type of cancer? They traced, it says earlier this month, the Food and Drug Administration said that some of the pills that they tested contained small amounts of this nitrodimethylene, NDMA. That's not the fun kind.
Right.
That's MD. It can be harmful in large amounts. The levels that the FDA found in preliminary tests barely exceeded amounts you might expect to find in common foods. So the active ingredient in and of itself, I guess, isn't dangerous. It's that some of these pills were contaminated with this NDMA.
Got it. Okay.
So we should be okay, right?
You're fine. I never really took it anyway.
Okay. The Saudi prince, he wants our help with Iran.
Well, of course, and we should help him.
And he says that, remember when the oil tankers got...
Sure.
Rocketed. Has that been like a month now? How
Whatever,
long was
doesn't
that?
matter.
A few weeks. And the United States said that it was Iran. The Japanese said, no, we don't think it was Iran. Anyway, the Saudi prince was on 60 Minutes being interviewed last night, and he says that if we do not deal with Iran, our gas prices are going to skyrocket.
If the world does not take a strong and firm action to deter Iran, we will see further escalations that will threaten world interests. Oil supplies will be disrupted, and oil prices will jump to unimaginably high numbers that we haven't seen in our lifetimes.
Well, then we'll nuke you.
Nuke who? Iran?
Yeah, and Saudi Arabia.
And
anyone else.
For what? To take the oil?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so we'll just come in and take it.
Yeah.
We'll take the oil.
Take it.
Can I ask you a question that maybe I should already know the answer to, but do we take oil from Iraq? Like after that whole thing, like
remember they were supposed to, right?
Everyone said like not everyone. A lot of liberals at the time were saying no blood for oil. This is a war about oil.
Sure.
Maybe a little bit of revenge too because of W and his dad. But this is a war about oil. But did we ever? Are we getting any of that oil? Or
I have no idea.
Okay, I didn't know if that was a well-known thing. This is something that I really wanted to talk to you about because I know you're passionate about this subject. You know a whole hell of a lot more about it.
But by the way, with the blood for oil, it doesn't matter. But real quick, because of oil is sold by the dollar, they want to change that. That's why we always had problems with Saddam. Saddam was like, well, I don't want it to be
that they
by
use
the dollar. Right.
Yeah,
we'll do something else. We'll do the euro.
Yeah,
well, then all of a sudden, the United States, that's not okay, obviously.
So this is a subject that I've heard you pontificate on, that I've heard you've changed my mind on. I didn't know a whole lot about this until I met you, and you've talked about it for years. I know you've read books on the subject.
Please tell me.
But did you hear what the California governor signed into law today?
Yes.
Did you hear about this? Now, the audio I have here is actually from a local ABC affiliate in California, and they're discussing
It's about
this.
time.
Okay, so it is California versus everyone again. This time, though, we're taking the fight to the NCAA. Governor Newsom is letting college athletes hire agents so that they can make money from endorsements. This has been a hot topic for a while.
Yeah, it has been. It really is. And Gavin Newsom signed this into law this morning, but it's not expected to take effect until January 2023.
Okay, so it would be a few years before it goes into effect.
I don't like that. It should go in effect immediately.
The NCAA, what I read this morning, is expected to protest this, and it all comes down to something about constitutional rights, which I'd never heard. Again, this is not my wheelhouse, the college sports stuff. I don't know anything about it, but talking about constitutional rights of amateurs and stuff, these athletes being amateurs. Now, you've said for a long time, I know, when people talk about whether or not college athletes should get paid, you've said at least let them get endorsements.
They have to get endorsements. The problem with colleges paying them themselves, right?
Yeah.
Is that they become employees.
Right.
If they become employees, then you start talking about insurance.
Okay.
You start talking about what if they get hurt.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that colleges don't want to take on as expenditures, even though they're making a ton of money. All of a sudden they're like, we're not really, while we're in the business of profiting from football, we're not really in the football business. We're still universities.
Right.
So the easy way out of that for me has always been, well, then let Jerry's car shop get the quarterback at your local university to do the TV or radio commercials for him and let him pay him some money.
Right. And even more so than that, would this help prevent, and I'm asking you, you've told me stories in the past of athletes getting in trouble because maybe someone bought them a piece of pizza.
Sure, of course.
Something like that.
It could end a lot of this. I mean, I still think some players would probably get paid more, but I don't think it ends everything, but it certainly brings a ton of it above board. And yeah, and people are always like, well, but then the schools in the bigger cities the schools with the more boosters and alumni, they're already the ones who have the best players.
Right.
They're already the ones who have the best players. They're the ones with the best facilities. They're the ones, they're already the ones.
They spend the most on their
facilities.
On their athletic employees, their coaches, and everyone else.
Right. They're already the ones.
So explain this to me. When...
now that is true. Somebody does make a good sense. Here's the thing. If this goes through, and I know 2023 seems so goddamn far away, but the question on this then would be, if this goes through but other states don't follow along, then it's completely unfair in the recruiting process. Because if I'm a kid, say I'm a kid, and I'm like, all right, well, I could go to, it doesn't even matter, but just throw it out there. I could go to Mizzou, or I could go to UCLA.
Okay.
Maybe I'm from the Midwest. I'm weighing my options, right? I like the program. I like to coach at Mizzou or KU or whatever the case may be. But I'm like, but if I go to Cal, I can make money.
Right. Yeah.
Why the hell am I going anywhere else? I'm not going. I mean, the people who are going to get completely upset about it are going to be the Alabamas, the Clemsons, the Notre Dames. Those people are going to start losing the recruits to USC, UCLA, because when the kids go to a school in California, they're going to be able to get paid. It would be completely unfair. It would almost have to start its own college sports network where there's just a champion of the California League because the kids would be so much better than the other kids.
So, and then also, I have so many questions, but what about, obviously you would expect the big star players. So, oh God, trying to think, Kelly Bryant, he's a quarterback,
okay.
right? Okay, so I would assume that if someone's going to get an endorsement on the team, quarterback would be front of the line, right? Especially if they're any good. Maybe even if they're not all that good, they're still quarterbacks, they could get some endorsements. What about the other guys on the team who aren't well-known campus names? Who are they... Do you think there's a chance that I would think that they would at least, even if they're not going to get some endorsement to sell their jerseys for, tens of thousands of dollars, couldn't they then at least be given tennis shoes, clothes, stuff that's not allowed now? Couldn't at least Adidas say, or Nike or whoever say, here's some clothes to wear, man?
Of course.
Like, I'm not going to say names, but you and I...
And it could be something as simple as, look, I'm the left guard. I'm not nearly as popular as the quarterback or the running back or the kid who got 7 interceptions last week. But I'm going to do an endorsement for the local pizza place, and it doesn't cost them much, but they give me $500 in free food.
Yes.
Like, boom. All right, fine. Well, you know what? You don't get to do the Cadillac endorsement, and you don't get the Cadillac and the money, but... Sorry, man, you should learn how to play quarterback. I don't know.
Right, that's how that works for anybody.
Anybody in the world, right. I don't get Howard Stern's money.
So, right now, this is another question I have for you, and I think you may have just answered it. If Kelly Bryant, which I keep going back to his name, you can give me another one if I can think of someone, but if Kelly Bryant walked into a pizza place, Shakespeare's, and they give him free pizza, is that against the rules right now?
Yes.
Even though... They don't have, if there's no if they're not saying hey man, we'd like it if you hung out here.
Yeah, you can't give them anything for free.
So I used to think that it had something to do with because there was a story about a player walking with someone like a recruiter or an agent, or maybe it was even someone from the NFL. And I knew that he wasn't allowed to buy him anything. But right now, if I own a car dealership, a pizza place...
You can't take free stuff. And part of the thing, and people are going to question me on this, part of the thing about Ohio State getting in trouble is that the kids took free tattoos.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right, so somebody, I don't remember the exact, what exactly happened in the exact story of that, but you're not allowed to take that kind of stuff.
Because that, to me, there's a couple things that really bother me. One is that you can't walk into a pizza place and get a free slice of pizza if you or anybody else. What if it was just a kid that you know from English class? Like, oh, hey, what's up, Daryl from English class? Here, have a slice on me. That's legal, right? Because he doesn't play, he's not involved in the NCAA. If he's not an athlete, then it's fine. But if that person plays any type of sport that's involved with the NCAA, then you can't give them anything for free, right? That's one huge thing that I just can't get my head around. Then the other is the idea of 18, 19, 20-year-old person walking down the street and seeing their name on a jersey, a football jersey, a volleyball jersey, a basketball jersey, whatever it is, and knowing that that is being sold for money with their name on it and their number, and they don't get a piece of that.
Right. Now, the brothers in UCLA, they sued.
That's the reason I think
why you can't do it anymore, and why you can't play NCAA college football on video games. That's why none of the names are used there, because they profited on it forever. But the O'Bannon brothers sued and said, you can't put us on NCAA basketball games and not give us any money. And so they sued, and that's why that's been taken off. You can't really buy a jersey with a player's name on the back anymore.
Oh, so they don't do that anymore. They don't really sell the jerseys anymore.
Sued.
Okay, because I obviously must remember you telling me that story when it happened, and I remember thinking this is ridiculous. I was one of those people, I knew nothing about it, and I thought, you don't need to pay these guys, good grief, they're already going to school for free, guys, girls, whomever.
Making
and then
hundreds
once
of
he
millions
explained
of
it to me, it only
dollars.
took a couple minutes where I was like, this is ridiculous. This is free labor. It makes no sense. They're making all this money. And then, of course, just watching like real sports, anytime I see a story about the NCAA, I'm like, oh my goodness. It's never positive. You don't hear much positive. The media doesn't report.
And this may be the chance
NCAA.
some of these young men, and maybe that's the only chance they have to get money.
That's what I'm saying.
Really, I mean,
most of them are
besides,
never going to go pro.
Right. So if you're the quarterback at KU, I forget what his name is right now, you're not getting paid, but you could probably do an endorsement for, something
Taco
in
John's,
Lawrence or something.
Yeah, whatever.
Right? And make a couple bucks. And by the way, it doesn't matter anyway because we don't stop anyone else from doing it.
Right.
We don't stop any other college student from doing it.
That's
so just stop.
That's the crazy
making
thing to
money
me.
on their name. If I went to college right now and I was taking classes and somebody came and said, "Oh, hey, do you want to? Here's some money."
Right.
They wouldn't say, "Well, you can't take that."
Right.
Or even if they said, "Hey, will you talk about my sub shop to your friends and I'll give you $50?" The school wouldn't be like, "Absolutely, you can't do that."
Right.
There's no way.
Right.
So it doesn't matter.
Right. That's what I was saying about like the pizza thing. If it's a friend of yours from class, you could give him the pizza only if he's not involved in sports. Because if he plays sports for the NCAA, then you can't give him anything. But if he just sits next to you in chemistry and doesn't happen to be involved,
right, of
then
course.
sure, give him a free piece of pizza. And that is insane to me.
Right.
And not nearly as insane as the fact that these men, women are sacrificing their bodies. They're getting injuries. Most of them won't go pro, like we said, and they're bringing in a ton of money for these schools. A lot of schools depend almost entirely on that revenue to keep the lights on. And
now you figured it out. The endorsement opportunity, that was the only way to do it, and it was the smart way to do it.
And on top of
and I'm
it
glad
all,
that Gavin Newsom did it, because then it's you. You're working, you have to do it, and you're paid by somebody else. And at any point, in any situation, if you can go out and get a job because of who you are, what you do, I don't understand how any authority could stop you from doing that. I'm going out and I'm working, and they are going to pay me for that. How do you tell me, no, I can't?
Right. And
by the way, you can't get mad at schools. All the schools, you know what? It's still, tuition, scholarship, those types of things. School's not out anything. Who gets hurt? There's no victim here.
Right. And just a couple more things. One of the things was, I don't know if you heard this or if you maybe even saw it, but in one of those stories I was reading, they said that this went back to, I think Gavin Newsom talked about this. Maybe he was on The Shop with LeBron James or something on HBO. Maybe he even signed something while he was on that show. I'm not sure. But I heard something about him being, and I know that LeBron James lauded the decision to sign this.
Right.
And then the final thing, too, is for people who say, well, you get a free education, and do you have any idea how much it costs to get an education? The problem is we've learned from so many different investigative journalism outlets now that so many of these kids are getting degrees, and then they leave, and the degrees aren't exactly real. Sure, it's real, it's there on paper, but some of these kids should have never gotten a degree.
That can be taken out of the argument completely, because the fact of the matter is, if I am 18 years old right now and I apply to the University of Illinois and I have a 4.5 grade point average and they give me a full ride scholarship, at no point does that say I can't get a job.
No, that's true.
So the point of the matter is completely different.
But don't you think that it's a little unfair to some kids when a teacher might otherwise say, this kid's getting left behind, I need to make sure that he or she's doing all right, that they say, oh, that kid's an athlete, so they're going to get a degree anyway, I'm not worried about them. Isn't that unfair to them? In some sense, they're going to school, they should be learning, but the teachers are like,
look, if you really want to, no.
But it doesn't bother you?
No.
Okay.
Not only does it not bother me, this is going to make people mad. People should be able to go and major in football.
Okay.
I major in football. This is what I do.
That's good.
I'm going to be a football player. And they're like, well, not everybody makes it. Well, so what?
I'll be a coach.
Not everybody becomes a dentist.
Yeah.
Not everybody becomes a veterinarian. Most kids who go to college don't end up being what they set out to do. So why can't I just go major in football? I want to major in baseball. I'm going to be a baseball player.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good. Then go do that.
And then you can at least coach somewhere. You can coach high school.
My degree's in football.
You get a degree. And
whatever.
You go
I don't know.
somewhere.
It doesn't matter.
Well,
it's no less ridiculous than a degree in art history.
Oh, boy.
What I'm just saying, it's no.
But those people already know, and you just,
I'm just saying the difference between an art history degree and a baseball degree. Who the hell cares? I got just as much a chance to go work at Cooperstown in Baseball Hall of Fame as you do of working at, I don't know.
Okay, well, now I do have to argue with you on that. I want to be done with this, but I do have to argue with you on that because what I'm saying is, according to those Real Sports stories that they did about this, they were talking about kids getting degrees in. I would say their argument would be the difference between the kid who got the communications degree and maybe the kid who's right now getting the football degree that doesn't exist, or if they made one, was that in order to get your communications degree, you still have to pass these math classes, you still have to pass these science classes, whatever. And that right now, these athletes don't actually have to pass them. They just give them
so
the
make
pass.
the courses about that.
Okay, so make it so that they have to actually pass these classes? Make
the classes about football. I don't know. Make it about, things that would go into being a professional football player, coach, agent, attorney, whatever the case may be, and make it about that. So now, you have to start with offense, defense, I don't know, nutrition, weightlifting, exercising, being, teaching people how to do it.
Stuff?
Right.
Sure.
Coaching, being an assistant coach. I mean, there's plenty of stuff that goes into sports that they could teach them about and make a whole curriculum about. Easy.
Do you know who the sexy vegan is?
Know her.
It's a he.
Know him.
I'd never heard of him either. He's a 37-year-old guy. His legal name is Sexy Vegan. I guess a lot of people were
also
already
my
aware
legal
of
name.
Sexy Vegan. He's been on Dr. Phil a couple times. Got kicked off the set of Dr. Phil. I had to do a crash course this morning to learn about this guy because I'd never heard of him. I guess his parents had some money, and one of the times he was on Dr. Phil, it was because, I don't know, his sibling or his mom or someone was accusing him of wasting money or wanting free money. I watched clips from this Dr. Phil episode.
Okay.
It just reminded me of old-fashioned Jerry Springer. They're kicking him out. He starts singing. He starts calling himself the sexy vegan or whatever, and then talks about how he's liberating these animals and that his mom's a liar.
I am the beautiful vegan.
Now, he says beautiful vegan. His legal name is actually Sexy Vegan.
It's a song. I didn't say I was, and she knows it. I'm liberating over 70 billion pigs in cages so small they cannot move for years, okay? I work. My mom's a sociopathic piece of I have the highest score in Hot or Not history.
He has the highest score in Hot or Not history. I didn't even know that was a thing. Well, he's 37 years old. He has pleaded not guilty now to 2 misdemeanor charges stemming from allegations that he...
I don't know.
Sexually assaulted his dog and posted a video of
His
the assault.
dog?
On social media. The West Hollywood, this is according to the LA Times, the West Hollywood
dog?
Dog, yeah, his dog, like his pet.
What did he do to it?
Well, that's what I want to know, because in a screenshot that they're at least implying is a screenshot from the video. None of the articles explicitly said, here's a screenshot from the video in question that I saw. But they were all using the same screenshot of the dog licking his face.
Licking whose face?
The sexy vegan.
Okay, that's not sexual assault, is it?
I hope not. So I don't know what else happened in this video. Now, at what point do you cross the line from foreplay to,
With your dog?
bestiality? You're allowed to let your dog kiss you. I know a lot of people let their dogs kiss them, lick their tongue and stuff. They'll lick them back. So is that crossing the line? I'm not saying that that's what this guy did. I'm assuming that he did more, but I don't know for certain. The West Hollywood resident is facing a count of sexual assault on an animal and a count of posting obscene matter. He faces up to a year in jail if convicted of the charges, according to the L.A. County prosecutors.
Inappropriate behavior with a pit bull.
Yeah, I saw the little dog there. Are you looking at one that shows a screenshot where it looks like the dog's licking his face?
No.
They don't offer specific details about the video, but they say it depicts obscene matter. Well, what if the dog was like licking him in the mouth? Is that obscene matter? I mean, it's obscene maybe
Can't imagine.
to people who don't love dogs, or maybe even some dog lovers. That's a little too much for them, but I've seen plenty of dog lovers who show affection to their dogs that way. Anyway, sexy vegan, he's in trouble.
I'm looking.
I'd never heard of him before. They made it sound like this guy was a pop culture phenomenon the last, 5 or 10 years. I'd never heard of him before.
Performing an act of bestiality.
Yeah.
Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff Station, Shirley.
Yeah, I don't know.
But what is the...
I don't know where do you draw the line? What becomes, is it like porno? You know it when you see it? What did he use this in any way? Was he... I don't know. It talks about him being on Dr. Phil in these articles, which you heard a piece of him there from Dr. Phil. He was once escorted off by security. That's what you just heard, and he was scantily clad. He apologized for that rant later, I guess. He described himself. Oh, I forgot this. When they arrested him, one of the things that he had listed on his, I guess, like when you fill out your paperwork, he'd said that he was a 2020 presidential candidate. But the media looked into it, and there's no applications that they can find that say that he's registered or going to be registered or be on any ballots as a 2020
what did he do?
presidential candidate. That's what I would like to know, because that picture, man, if you just Google News sexy vegan, and this guy, they show this, I think, is
an
a screenshot. See this? See these shots here?
Yeah.
I believe that these are taken from that video.
Yes,
I don't know
agree.
why, but I think they must be.
Two dogs were removed from his home.
Yeah, he has at least 2 dogs. I've seen pictures of him walking around with the dogs. Again, I learned all this stuff this morning. But here's the picture. Now, this is from 3 days ago, but this is definitely his pit. You can tell. And there's the picture. Look at this picture here on the far right. That's the picture that I kept seeing, where they're like kissing each other on the mouth.
I feel like I've seen you do that to your dogs.
I let my dog kiss me.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, on Instagram, I feel like I've seen you do that.
Yeah, my dog's definitely licked my face before.
Yeah. And you lick theirs. Or, like...
I kiss her.
Yeah.
I kiss her on the cheek, yeah.
I shouldn't say lick her, but...
I kiss her on the cheek. But
I see your guys' face together, and you're like, rah, rah, rah,
yeah. And she kisses me. And I know that there are some people who go ahead and open up their mouths and let their dogs kiss them like that. And I don't know if that's breaking any laws or not. But in this picture here, I feel like that's a screenshot from the video. And in that screenshot, he's holding the dog's head up and he's kissing it on the face, and the dog's got his tongue out. He had to have done something, but he posted it.
Man, I got his real name here. This is...
Yeah, they've got his... I read his real name earlier. It's his real name is actually Sexy Vegan, but his original name was Hansel de Bartolo III.
Right. Is he a de Bartolo?
Well, they're rich, so who's de Bartolo? Are they a car company?
De Bartolos they owned the 49ers at one point. They owned malls everywhere.
Well, then he must be, because
you know a de Bartolo.
I read something about... One of the stories talked about him being on Dr. Phil because someone had accused him of trying to waste millions or something. They made it sound like he came from a bunch of money.
Could be. Is it Eddie DeBartolo's grandkid?
I don't know. This article just says, this is, again, the LA Times. It says he's a West Hollywood resident who was born Hansel DeBartolo III. So can you look up who the original...
I mean, it was Eddie DeBartolo.
Would you get Eddie from Hansel?
Edward J. DeBartolo.
I'm looking up Hansel. I keep seeing pictures of this guy who looks like maybe he's a doctor or something. I don't know if that's him. I don't know. Look into that. Let me know. I'd be curious.
I guess there's more than one DeBartolo, but
none of these articles specify that I saw where the money came from, but a couple of them did talk about the family having money. And he said something about his dad's cars or something. I felt like I remember, but I don't know. A guy in Dallas, Texas, wakes up, and then late at night, he hears noises outside of his house. Someone's trying to get into his shed. So he runs aside. This guy's 72 years old. He runs outside and says, "Hey, stop breaking into my shed or I'm going to shoot you."
But 72-year-old James Michael Meyer is now charged with murder. According to the Dallas Morning News, he told police he shot the man after finding him breaking into his shed on Thursday night. Meyer told police the burglar started to run after the first shot, but then he continued to fire.
Okay, so he went back to bed after this. The story is, at least according to the thing that I read in USA Today, that he fatally shot this guy and then went back to bed. So the basic telling of it from their standpoint is that he comes outside. He says, "Hey, get away from my shed or I'm going to shoot." They claim, the family is claiming, or the lawyer is claiming, that the person made some sort of a motion towards him. So he shoots a couple times. Now, the police are saying that as this guy was running away, trying to get away, he got shot. The 22-year-old man is saying, "I was just shooting in that direction because I wanted to scare this person off, and I felt like I wasn't scaring them off with my threats." He goes back to bed. He claims that the next day when he sees this person out there, he thought it was a bag laying on the ground.
Okay.
And didn't realize at first that he killed someone. But then they say that his wife contacted a lawyer to ask for advice before this guy called 911. So imagine you wake up, you go out there, if this is true, he sees what he thinks is a bag laying out there, realizes, oh, this is a person. I guess I shot that person last night. Instead of running straight in to call 911, they're saying that the wife contacts a lawyer first to ask for advice. He told police someone was trying to break into his storage shed in the middle of the night.
They knew he was dead.
Yeah, they knew he was dead, I would think.
Right, so I don't think calling a lawyer first is crazy.
He then grabbed his gun, went out and yelled that he'd shoot the person if they came any closer. The person took several steps toward him. That's what he told investigators, so he fired. As the burglar dropped his little crowbar or whatever he had to try and break into the shed, this guy fires another shot into the night. That was his quote, into the night, in the direction of where this guy was running. Investigators wrote that the suspected burglar posed no threat of serious bodily injury once he ran off. Allegedly not knowing whether he shot anyone, Meyer told police he went back to bed. Gets up at 7 in the morning, thinks he sees a bag, and turns out that it's the man's body. This is in Texas. I'm just saying, in Texas, I kind of thought, I didn't even know if you had to warn them. I thought maybe you were allowed to shoot them even if they were running away, if they were on your property. But let that be a warning that maybe some common sense is starting to sneak its way into our collective conscience about guns, at least, and stand your ground and castle laws and all that. Because that guy...
So this guy's in trouble now?
Yeah, he's been charged with murder. The 17-year-old...
But we don't know if he's going to get convicted or not.
Has he
but
been
at least
charged?
He's getting charged.
Who fatally shot suspected authorities, reported home... I thought that they said that he'd been charged here. Hold on, let me find... allegedly kills burglars. Dallas man went back to bed before killing. 72. Oh, so maybe he hasn't been charged yet. I swore I saw one of them that said that he had been charged with something, but maybe they're still investigating him. I mean, they took a picture of him. He's got a mug shot, but maybe they haven't charged him yet. But the police are saying that this guy posed no threat. So yeah, he has. He's been charged with murder, and he's was being held on $150,000 bail. So there you go.
Okay.
In your home state, near your hometown. Actually, I don't know. How far away is Auburn?
Close.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's like where my truck was made, right? Is there some factories in Auburn? I feel like there's
Auburn Hills?
Is that where they are? Or is it Auburn and Auburn Hills? Auburn Hills, Michigan is the name of the city, right?
Yes.
Aren't there car factories in Auburn Hills, or is that like a neighborhood? Okay, maybe not. Anyway.
It's where the Pistons played, the Palace of Auburn Hills.
Oh, I thought they were in Pontiac for some reason.
That's where the Silverdome was.
And who played there?
The Lions in the big Pontiac Silverdome.
Okay.
The
Pistons never played in Pontiac?
Probably.
Okay, well, anyway, people are driving down the highway, and they see on those highway billboards, that warn you about stuff. This must be one of the nice billboards. And this, I'm guessing, isn't actually one of those warning billboards, just one of the nice digital billboards.
Okay.
As they're driving, they see porn. Like, there's porn, there's porn playing on it. One of the guys who called the local news up there said, at first I thought it was like an ad for a strip club or something.
Very bizarre. I thought maybe it was a billboard for a strip club or something.
Saturday night, Chuck McMahon tweeted, a billboard on northbound I-75 in Auburn Hills is playing porn.
I was just looking up at it and I was like, oh wow, that's porn.
So I read that this was on I-75 in Auburn Hills, and that this shocking video, it was up there for maybe about half an hour. A lot of people were calling and reporting this to police, and a lot of people were tweeting about it.
They didn't love it?
And saying that they just saw porn on the interstate. But I've heard of hackers... I don't even know if they call them hackers. I've heard of people going in and screwing with the Department of Transportation signs, the signs that say buckle up and stuff, and changing them to say funny things or to say gratuitous things. I haven't heard of someone messing with a digital billboard yet, getting it to play porn, but it's not bad. I understand that you do get in some trouble for that, but I'm worried that if they catch this person, the punishment is going to be a lot harsher than I would like for it to be. Because what do you think is a fair punishment for hacking a digital billboard to play porn?
I don't know. Like, I'm watching the porn video now, though.
And it was kind of softcore, right? Like, they said that occasionally, some people said that you could see some unclothed genitals, but I got the impression that it was somewhat softcore.
Man. Would you just pull over and masturbate?
No.
I'm just asking.
I have access to porn. It's not like,
I know, but I mean, not like that.
It would be something. I'll tell you what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't call the cops. How's that? I might call you and be like, hey, you got to take this way into work. This billboard's playing porn. You got to see it. It's the funniest thing. And, I guess you probably tweet about it and say, have you guys seen this? Just to make sure you're not seeing things. But I'm not going to freak out about it. And there's someone.
I think I might masturbate to it.
There's a local news station.
Could you imagine all
the
cars pulled over?
Just everybody stops and they're just watching it?
That'd be a beautiful moment. If everybody just pulled over and stopped right next to each other. It would be like REM's Everybody Hurts, only everybody jacks off.
Like that picture of everyone gathering in Times Square to watch the Seinfeld finale.
Sure.
We're all standing there together in Times Square.
Everybody pulls over on the side of the road of Detroit to masturbate.
Just men? Or everyone?
Women can masturbate, can't they?
I know. I didn't know if you just assumed that men would be the ones who would do this.
Their private parts, but I assume they can masturbate.
They definitely, from what I've heard, can masturbate. A guy in Arizona in the Phoenix area was in a car accident. This was months ago, and they thought that this car accident killed him. Then the coroner comes back and says, this guy was shot. And so we don't think the car accident killed him. We think getting shot killed him. Well, now they've arrested someone, and the reason, according to them, that he shot this other guy is because they pull up at a stoplight alongside of one another, and the victim turned and made eye contact with him, and he didn't like the fact that he made eye contact with him. Didn't like the fact.
Don't look me in the eye.
Don't look at me.
Don't look me in the eye.
And he shot him. And then how does he get caught? He bragged about it to somebody, I guess.
Back in March, Alex died in what police initially thought was a single vehicle crash near 32nd Street and Thunderbird.
The medical examiner quickly pointed out to us that this individual has been shot, and we think that's the cause of death.
They always brag about it, don't they? You get drunk, you start telling someone, I killed someone today. But this Phoenix man has been arrested now on suspicion of shooting and killing this other guy because he looked at him while he was at a stoplight. He's 30 years old. He was booked in the Maricopa County Jail Thursday on suspicion of first-degree murder, aggravated assault, misconduct involving weapons, and drug-related charges, according to the Phoenix Police Department. Police in a press release said that he shot and killed a 26-year-old named Alex Mixon on March 1st, about 3:15 in the morning, quote, for merely looking at him while stopped at a traffic light. Mixon was traveling west, and the shooting caused the truck to cross the eastbound lanes and leave the roadway, according to police. The truck hit a power pole and then traveled through a wall before coming to a stop. He was taken to a nearby hospital where he later died of his injuries, according to the police press release. He was the sole occupant of the truck. Police say they originally believed the incident was a single vehicle collision. However, an autopsy revealed that he had been shot, and it was determined to be a homicide. So they took surveillance. You're being videotaped all the time now when you're out there on the roads. So they took surveillance videos and all that, and they're going to use that to help convict this guy. But I guess the guy who had done the shooting bragged about it, and an anonymous person reported that he overheard him talking about the shooting because he gave him a dirty look. Like, guess they're at a bar, and he overhears him like, yeah, that guy gave me a dirty look, so I shot him. And so someone turned him in. If you overheard someone at a bar, be honest now. Don't play tough guy. If you overheard someone at a bar, or drinking, we're like, yeah, well, I shot a guy back in March for looking
I probably would just think they were talking smack.
Right? I would assume that that's not true at all.
True.
And now if I tell the police...
But if I say I went home, and then there was a news story, I'd be like, oh, I heard... Yeah, I would absolutely contact them. Yeah. But I don't think I would if I just heard three guys talking like, man, I shot that guy. I'd be like, first off, I don't know what that means. He could be a cop. Right? Like, none of my business.
I would totally assume that it's not real.
Right.
Yeah. And then as soon as I tell the cops, I'm going to get dragged into this big whole thing.
I got big news for you.
Yeah, let's hear it.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
This is a tweet. You can look it up on Twitter. Just go to @TheRock.
Okay. Running for president?
No.
He's going to remake one of my favorite movies.
Better.
Waiting on my computer. Here we go. Start filming a movie.
No. Go down. Come on. It's a pin tweet.
The pin tweet is...
No, we don't need that. Finally. Are you at The Rock?
Yeah, I'm going through here.
Jesus Christ. 46 minutes ago. It's Twitter.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
I'm looking.
Finally, I come back home. It's the first one.
Okay.
Finally, I come back home to my @WWE universe this Friday night. I'll return for our debut of SmackDown live on Fox TV. There's no greater title than the People's Champ, and there's no place like home. Tequila on me after the show. You don't have
That's
that?
good news. I see it now. I found it.
Play the thing. Doesn't it give a clip?
It doesn't work for some reason. It won't load. Maybe too many people trying to see it at the same time, but it won't load on my computer. All I get is a thing for him making it. Looks like he's making, what was that, Jumanji?
It's like, oh,
making a sequel. Sorry. You can see that it doesn't load on mine, right? You can see it's broken. It's probably because there's too many people trying to watch it right now.
184,000 views already. It was 45 minutes ago.
So you excited?
I like The Rock.
I don't know anything about
He's my all-time favorite actor.
Wrestling. Is he one of your favorite wrestlers?
Yeah, of course. He's great.
He was a good guy, right? Like in the good guy.
Back and forth.
Oh, he was?
Everybody goes back and forth, man.
Oh, I thought they had like...
Everybody's always got a good heel turn in them, you know? Just like I did with the Lions Chiefs. It's a good heel turn.
Okay. You want to be done?
You've never really done a heel turn, though, have you? You've always been a nice guy, haven't you?
Oh, no. I've been mean.
I don't think you've ever been a bad guy.
Sure. I've definitely been a bad guy. I'm sure I bully people in school. Like, don't you ever think
I'm
like...
talking about now.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
a fake heel turn. You've never done one where you just pretend to be a jerk.
Oh, there's got to be something. Well, there was that guy who was saying that I was mean, so mean to Meredith. I don't remember what I was saying to her, but remember he threatened me. Do you remember that?
Such a pussy.
What? I must have said something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I can't be all perfect. That guy wouldn't have been threatening me.
Ugh. All right, anyway, I'm done.
We'll
Did that thing ever come up? Does it work?
Doesn't work. I'm trying, man. I don't know why it won't load. It starts to. You want me to try it again?
Yeah.
All right. See if it works. Nope. Hold on. See, it loaded the wrong video. It's just not loading. I'm sorry. I can't help that it won't load. I'll try one more time. Hold on. I'll copy this. If you just stall for 2 seconds,
I'm trying.
I can try it in a different browser. See if I can get it to work. Okay? But this computer, it doesn't like to run more than a couple things at once.
Are you ready? Are you excited about The Rock?
When's the last time he
It's been a long time.
Did wrestling stuff?
Been a long time.
Okay, now I'm trying it here. Okay, now I have an image. Looks like I have audio.
The Rock is cooking. The People's Champion! The most electrifying man in sports entertainment. The Rock said, listen, if you listen... That's the greatest thing I've ever seen. And here's The Rock in front of the millions. The jabroni beating, pie eating, trailblazing, eyebrow raising. Here it comes. The people down low. The most electrifying move. The Rock is gonna lay it to smack it down on your candy ass. If you're so mad, it is The Rock. My God! Finally, what The Rock is cooking.
Oh, man, are you going to watch Friday night now?
No.
Man!
That gets you excited?
Man!
The Church of Lazlo. 96.5 The Buzz.
Lazlo, Slim Fast, Snow Cone, so many things real quick. Now that I'm also your guys' music critic, last week we talked about you guys playing Eddie Money. Earlier today, I checked out the stream to see if you guys would be talking about the football game already, and I heard you guys playing some Nate Dogg and Warren G regularly. Now that's what I'm talking about. That was a pleasant surprise.
We did play that earlier. Yeah.
You really like The Buzz, don't you?
I love it, man. I love it, and I loved this weekend, and I want to congratulate you, Lazlo, first and foremost, for your team putting up a valiant effort in defeat. I mean, at no point watching that football game was I at all ever concerned that the Chiefs would lose. But
hold on. What did you say, that they put up a valiant defeat?
A valiant effort in defeat.
Oh, a valiant effort in defeat. Okay.
You watched them and you were like, hey, the Lions really tried their best. You were like, hey, they gave their fans moments of false hope. You were like, oh, man, they actually made Patrick Mahomes play all 4 quarters and play his best. And I think that's a hell of an accomplishment.
And maybe the Lions are pretty good, right? Maybe they're pretty good?
Yeah, man, I think, listen, the Chiefs played Jacksonville and beat them.
That which you fear the most We'll meet you halfway.
What does that mean?
That means you are now the same fans as the Patriot fans. You can't hit Patrick Mahomes or else they throw a flag. You can't rough up the Chiefs. There were points when Patrick Mahomes was actually looking around at the refs saying, you're going to call holding on my guys, right? No? Okay, well, then I'll just keep playing. You have become those sickening Pats fans.
Okay, how dare you? Don't compare us to them. It's not.
It's true. And then I come in and everybody's like, oh, look at you. You suck just with your smug attitudes. No humility whatsoever.
What do you mean? I say congratulations. I'm happy for you.
There's nothing you can say to him, Nick. I've been trying to tell him that I root for it. I wanted to go to the game. I thought it would be a good game. Tried everything. He's just stuck
I hear
in
it.
this
Everybody hears
Joe
it in your
Pesci
guys'
mode.
voice. A valiant effort in defeat.
Well, I mean, do you want me to lie? You want me to pretend that I actually thought at some point that Matt Patricia-led team was going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs? I didn't think that.
I know.
And I don't come here to lie to you guys. I come here to spit cold truths, hard truths, sometimes hard to digest truths. And the hard truth is that the Detroit Lions had a valiant effort, but despite the fact that Kansas City had 3 separate lost fumbles, despite the fact that Patrick Mahomes missed 6 open guys downfield, despite the fact that Andy Reid, for the second straight game, butchered the clock at halftime and cost the Chiefs points, and despite the fact that the Detroit Lions at one point did have the Chiefs in a 4th and 8 with a chance to win the game, at no point did anyone think the Lions were actually going to win that game, and that includes the Lions head coach, who with 30 seconds left in the game started coaching for the Hail Mary instead of coaching to just stop the Chiefs from getting in the end zone, because even he knew it was a fait accompli that the Kansas City Chiefs, with the most talented football player to ever to live as their quarterback, were going to score and win the game.
Well, you know what? I don't know what I was talking about when I accused you of being like Brady fans. Now that you put it that way, it just seems, like you're pretty
you're
humble
so a loser. That's what we've been trying to tell you over here. This guy. That was New York. Sorry.
Can we for a moment? And I'm sure you've talked about it, but maybe people weren't listening at the top of the show in the 2:00 hour when people can listen to win. Where's the concert this week?
Austin with White Reaper.
Oh, a little ATL, Austin City Limits. Is that what it is?
That's what it was last week. We're sending you to see White Reaper.
Don't you worry about
Reaper.
it.
Yep.
Awesome. Sorry, but I'm sure you guys talked about this then. But can we talk about what the half of this show did this weekend? Because
we talked about it. He's all, I love the Chiefs. And he's out riding a Viking, whatever it is, spinning dragons all day.
Listen.
That's the other part of it that just makes me want to puke. Just puke. Look at what a fan I am. I bought a jersey. But when the game's on, I'll be at work fun.
Okay, first of all, I go to the games. And second of all, Nick, you didn't get to hear this earlier, but this is the employee family.
Go to the games. You go to the games. You go to the games like a drunk girl to Cubs game in the bleachers. That's what you do. It's like saying all of them are real baseball fans.
So yesterday was my brother's company day to be at Worlds of Fun. It's a family day for the company. They choose the date. I go with him every year. I did not choose this day, and I'm not going to tell my brother and my niece, no, I'm not going because the game is on. Although I think it is a reasonable excuse, I instead brought my phone, watched as much of it as I could on my phone throughout the day, which caused a little bit of stress because it made my girlfriend mad, made my brother mad. And then I came home knowing that the Chiefs had won, and I enjoyed watching the replay on the DVR. At some point, you have to make that decision. You're going to have certain obligations that sometimes trump watching your favorite sports team live on TV or at the game.
365 days a year, Sunfest, okay?
I get it.
I would contend there are 20 that you cannot make midday plans.
Right.
Listen, my brother listens to this show, so I'm trying to be nice, okay? But yesterday...
And you could go before, after, whatever.
Yesterday was not an ideal day for this little outing to happen. I agree. But it's the day that someone else chose. He didn't choose it either. So I went, and that's that.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. And here's my final counterpoint. And you know, Slim Fats, how much I'd love you. I'd donate a kidney to you if you needed it.
I doubt
while that all might be true and defensible, you documented it proudly on social media. And that was the bridge too far for me.
That I was at Worlds of Fun?
Yeah. Keep that belief to yourself.
Right.
If you had you texted Lazlo and I, and we're a safe space, and I get that, but you don't need to tell the world. In fact, the moment that happens, what you really need to do is the moment you realize you're not going to be there is like take some pictures of you in Chiefs gear at home, like a picture of, some chips and dip, picture of you in front of a TV that you can then be posting throughout the day as if you're watching the game, so the world doesn't know
that it's Drunk Girl Sunday at Worlds of Fun.
Drunk Girl Sunday. It's family day. Good Lord. It's family day, and I went with my family. And I pay extra so I have the ability to watch the game while I was there. So I did, and it's not ideal.
The only reason why you watched the game while you were there is because you texted me and Nick, and we both... Well, I guess via text, but verbally assaulted you.
No, I knew
and your manhood.
I asked you guys not to give me updates because my brother was saying the same thing. Don't tell me anything about the game. I don't want to know until I get home. And that's what I had decided I would do. All right, don't tell me anything. We're going to go straight home and I'm going to watch this. I'm going to cut myself off. But I knew you guys would say stuff. I don't know how to block both of your texts. Somehow, someone at that park was going to say something. If I heard someone over say the Chiefs lost, it was going to be really hard for me to go home and start watching that, knowing ultimately that they were upset by the Lions. So I just had to watch. I couldn't. I was trying to be a good uncle, a good brother, and I just couldn't.
Congratulations. You guys technically won, so.
That's what Lazlo keeps saying also, by the way, Nick, that you've missed, is that he says we technically won because he's accusing the Chiefs of being the Patriots, the favored team by the refs.
Of the NFL.
Let me hear this. Let me hear this, Lazlo.
What? It was clear. There was call again about how the divas of the NFL just get away with whatever they want. They'll catch in the end zone, pick up the ball, let them run, even though there's dancing girls in the middle of the field. People walking on and off the field. It could have been a goddamn Zamboni driving down the middle of the field. And they're like, man, no reason to blow the whistle. Why don't you just go ahead and walk in there, sir? Give you 7. Go ahead. Patrick Mahomes, you can't touch that guy. You're not allowed to touch him. What are you talking about? Pass interference, please. We're not even going to look at that.
So you're blaming the refs?
Yeah, he was definitely blaming the refs earlier.
Oh, wow. That's low even for you. You're blaming the refs?
Have you heard other non-Detroit fans blaming the refs, like anybody that you work with or anything? Would they say anything about the officiating?
Every non-Detroit fan is saying, hey, the Lions tried their best, and good for them.
We're used to it. It's okay.
Listen, the Lions might actually be good.
I thought that was the takeaway. I thought the Lions fans should be happy, sort of, right?
Absolutely. Listen, and by the way, just real quick, there's only 2 4-0 teams.
There are no moral victories.
Yeah, I know. But, listen, it sucks. I know that you guys, that would have been Lazlo, the best Lions win, since I don't know.
Since they beat the Patriots last year?
Yeah, but that win that win felt good, but you knew they weren't actually like a good team.
I know they're not a good team this year either. They're not going to make the playoffs, and the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. I know how this plays out. I've been a Lions fan my entire life. It's a process. The thing is that you guys used to be like that with Chiefs fans, but then you got Patrick Mahomes, and all of a sudden you became, instead of like brethren with Cleveland and Detroit and teams like that, you became all buddy-buddy with teams like New England.
No, listen. Hey, man, we're our own thing. Yeah. We can still go to the dive bar with you guys, you Lions fans, on a Thursday, even if we're getting behind the velvet rope on a Friday, baby. Like, we can go both places. We don't discriminate. We just our status in life has changed.
Look, I will root for the Chiefs every game from here on out. But they're the crown jewel of the NFL now, and you are not allowed to beat the Chiefs.
Oh, wow. This is a bitter man. The final, death rattle of a bitter Lions fan right here. Not acknowledging that Patrick Mahomes on a 4th and 8 just makes the right play.
He did. Patrick Mahomes is great, but the game doesn't. The game isn't made on a 4th and 8. If the stuff doesn't happen before that.
Well, listen, tell your guys to stop fumbling in the red zone. I mean, geez, some ball security. My Lord. It's not like the Chiefs didn't have some fumbles go against us, but we rallied. It's not like the Lions didn't have an opportunity to have a sweet hook and lateral middle of the field just because. Chiefs made more plays on the day. That's why they won. And by the way, through the first month of the season, the Chiefs have the Jaguars are 2-1 when they don't play the Chiefs. The Raiders are 2-1 when they don't play the Chiefs. The Ravens are 2-1 when they don't play the Chiefs. The Lions are technically undefeated when they don't play the Chiefs. Like, the Chiefs have had one hell of a difficult schedule, and they're still 4-0. Meanwhile, the Patriots just totally escaped with a win in Buffalo, where Brady looked the worst he's looked in a decade. I'm so excited for this year. It's just exhilarating.
Wait, you said that. Okay.
What?
Oh, Brady?
Well, you just said New England escaped in Buffalo, and Brady looked as worse as he's looked in a decade.
Yeah.
Didn't Kansas City escape in Detroit with Mahomes looking as bad as he's ever looked?
No. 300 yards, 50 yards.
He looked as bad as he's ever looked.
No, not even close. No interceptions. The game-winning drive with 2.5 minutes left. The game-winning scramble on 4th and 8. No. We've just raised our standards.
When did Mahomes look worse?
He looked worse in the Monday night game against Denver, in the first game last year against the Jaguars. You could argue he looked worse.
All right, well, maybe you're right. That to me seemed like he was off more than he has been in a long time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He missed some open throws, but the stat line for Bills Patriots, the Patriots they won 16-10 because they had a blocked punt and they knocked the Bills quarterback out of the game, and I just feel very good about where the Chiefs are. You should feel very good about
I do
where
have
the
to
Lions
ask
are.
one thing. So we're talking about the Pats and everything else. And Lazlo, I know Lazlo's, he's being funny here. But I will say one thing, that is that you do expect the Chiefs to win now, to the point where, like, my girlfriend yesterday, as we're watching the game on my phone and we're trying not to let my brother know what's going on in the game, she's thinking, like, oh, my God, they're going to lose. And she's freaking out. I was like, look, sometimes you lose games. That happens. She's like, not this team. So that is already starting to set in a little bit. But I wanted to ask you about the Patriots, because there was just something the other day. I was sitting there thinking about Tom Brady and Breeze, these guys, and I thought, I know Nick said this a couple years ago, but God damn it, isn't Brady due for a groin injury or something? Like, something eventually has to happen to this guy, right?
Yeah.
I know he didn't have a great game, but he's still playing.
Yeah, but they're a team led by their defense. Their offense is going to struggle. They got and what Brady is at this point in his career, at the first sign of a pass rush, he's throwing the ball away because he does not want to risk any injury, because he knows all that matters is December. And so we'll see if that ends up costing them the 1 seed. Their schedule is very fortuitous over the next few weeks. They got through a tough opponent, but it's the Chiefs, the Patriots, and then everyone else. And in all seriousness, Lazlo, the Vikings stink. The Bears have an unbelievable defense, but they have real questions at quarterback. We'll see the Packers, there's a few question marks with them. It wouldn't be shocking if the Lions get to...
Look, the truth of the matter is I'm bitter, not because the Chiefs are great. I like the Chiefs. The fact of the matter is that the Lions continue to find ways to lose. They have since I was a kid, and they will continue to do so. So don't start talking about how they're going to win their goddamn division, because they're not going to win their goddamn division. They're going to beat a team that they shouldn't beat. They're going to play the Chiefs close, and at the end of the year, they'll be 7-7-2. So shut the up and leave me alone.
But the Chiefs have found a way to lose.
Shut up!
I was at that AFC game last year. They did again lose. In my lifetime, they've always found a way to also lose.
I'm crying for you. Crying for you as you lose that game to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Nick.
You sons of bitches.
Funfest. It feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I was really anxious. I really think I ruined my family's time each day at that park. But once it was over, boy, it was great. It was like having the divorce finalized. It was like that kind of feeling. Like, all right, now I'm ready to focus on other things and have some fun. Who plays tonight?
It's one of the worst Monday night games ever. It's Andy Dalton against Mason Rudolph. Yeah, it ain't great.
Who do the Chiefs play this weekend? The Colts?
Oh, the Colts on Sunday Night Football.
Okay.
I assume Slim Fast you're going to have some square dancing class or something to go to, but you could watch it via Skype, I assume.
No, I will be there.
I will talk to you guys later.
Okay, see you, Nick.
The Church of Lazlo on
on 96.5.